Welcome back. During the month of October, healthcare professionals all over the country are raising awareness for breast cancer. The American Cancer Society, breast cancer survivors, sponsors, and community supporters will be participating in the annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event to show their support. Before we meet the guests, let's take a look at this trailer for their upcoming event.
This is American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. It's go mode time. Get ready to make some amazing strides. Since 1993, we've become the most impactful, the largest, the #1 breast cancer movement in the country. We are the movement, the hope, the future. For over 30 years, we've been celebrating the courage of survivors and thrivers. There are more than 3.8 million breast cancer survivors in the U.S. today. So we continue to unite communities across the nation to end breast cancer as we know it for everyone. But there are still more steps to take. Over 280,000 people were diagnosed in 2022. Now the shoe is on your foot. Ready, set, go. Be the movement. Sign up for the walk. Be the hope. Support a survivor. Be the future. Donate to help end breast cancer. Every sponsor, partner, and person moves us one step closer to ending breast cancer as we know it. Go mode activated. Sign up today.
Clair Francis, the development manager for the American Cancer Society, joins me to talk about the event. Claire, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, breast cancer is one of the most common cancers for women in the United States. Why is it so important to get people educated about early detection?
So, the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer movement is a celebration of courage and hope, and it's a movement uniting communities to end breast cancer as we know it. So, in order to do that, we bring awareness to early detection. So we collaborate with some of our healthcare companies, with our communities, with individuals, our survivors, our thrivers, their caregivers, in providing that educational awareness to be consistent with their cancer screenings, with their health checkups, so that early detection, when you have early detection, it will help with the treatment of if you're diagnosed with cancer.
Now, you talked about making strides against breast cancer. Can you just talk about your experience with it and, basically give us a little bit more information about it, like how it started and, how does it affect the community?
So like I mentioned, it's a big old celebration of courage and hope. So it's been like over 2 decades. It's about like a 3 to 5 non-competitive walk where we all gather together as a community to show community support to our survivors, our thrivers. Our survivors are breast cancer survivors. Our thrivers are those with metastatic breast cancer, their families, and even caregivers. So we're showing that supportive community support to let them know that we are here for you, and we're celebrating each life and each memory and decreasing those breast cancer diagnosis numbers.
Now, I really love that you said it's non-competitive, so that means it's for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone can join. What is the overall goal when organizing these walk events?
Celebration. It's just a celebration where the whole community comes together to let our breast cancer, like I mentioned, survivor thrivers know that we are here for them. Year round, our teams, our companies are doing their funding to show help in providing those resources that the American Cancer Society does through research and through advocacy, with providing programs through health equity, research and providing grants to scientists to help bring forth new interventions and treatments with cancer. So it's just that collective unity of letting everyone know that you are not alone in this journey.
Now, how has the event just grown over the years? Just looking at the trailer, you can see there's so many people there, and you definitely get that sense of celebration. So how has the movement just grown in regard to raising awareness and support
So this has been happening since 1993. So we call it like we are the hope. So the goal is to pretty much end breast cancer as we know it. So it all started with one breast cancer survivor named Margie. She joined up with other breast cancer survivors and they created what's called a move along-thon. And it has grown so much where they now in 1993, it officially became the American Cancer Society Making Strides Against Breast Cancer movement.
Now, were you going to say something else?
No.
Or to add it to? Okay. Now, I wanted to know more about the fundraising events. Can you talk about that and, what impact it had on spreading awareness and supporting breast cancer research?
So our teams and our companies, so we have companies that have teams that do fundraising. So all the fundraising, all the funds goes to the overall mission and vision of the American Cancer Society, of the American Cancer Society, like I mentioned, with funding our research and our advocacy, which will help provide those programs and treatments to, again, end that decrease in hearing you have cancer, to where more families will have more memories with their family members.
Now, something that's really important that I want to highlight is that there's not only support for breast cancer patients, but also for caregivers, which I think is just so important. Can you talk about, why the organization also honors caregivers and, celebrates people who are taking care of those who are dealing with breast cancer?
So I'll put my personal twist on that because I was also a caregiver as well, alongside of being a health professional at the same time before starting with the American Cancer Society. So as a caregiver, you're definitely providing that 24/7 support to that person, not just physically, but also mentally. A lot of people who are going through their cancer journey, sometimes they're going through it alone. So with our caregivers, they're providing that support all the time. They're like right there next to that survivor or thriver. So feeling celebrated, knowing that you're there with them is also a great way of knowing that, hey, I'm here with you and I have a support team behind me that's helping me support the person I'm supporting. So for me, knowing that there's other people behind me to help my mom or my grandfather through this journey, is a great, mental celebration for me, knowing that I'm not alone in helping this person.
And I also want to add, do you think that we should kind of normalize, having caregivers, be kind of recognized in the space of healthcare? Because definitely it can't be done alone. When, taking care of somebody, it is like a community effort. So can you just talk about a little bit, just because of your experience, is that something that, should be kind of looked at more often?
I think definitely that is correct. That we should get more in tune of celebrating caregivers along with the survivors and thrivers, because that it's a change of life for them as well. Because before that, that family member was independent, doing things on their own, and their cancer journey now has taken a toll or twist on the entire family. So the caregiver has to make so many changes with their own personal life, with the home as well. So, it's good to know that there is someone to interact with. Like the American Cancer Society has that 24/7 hotline where not only does the survivor and the thriver have an opportunity to speak to someone, the caregiver does as well, because they also need that support or education on knowing how to continually take care of my family member in a healthy way. And also, how can I deal with mentally, physically, and emotionally, how to take care of them as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
No problem.
Now, the upcoming event is coming. The celebration is coming. So can you talk about the event in the Bronx and just give us a little bit more details about that?
Sure. So the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer of the Bronx is Sunday, October 22nd. It starts at 8 a.m. and it's at Bay Plaza Shopping Center. So the Bronx is all about celebration, and all of our teams, our companies, our Bronx Executive Committee of the Bronx comes together and just an overall big party celebration and just fulfilling everything that we just talked about. Our survivors, our thrivers, our caregivers, the families, the individuals, the participants, we just all come together where year round, all these individuals took their part in fulfilling the mission and the vision of the American Cancer Society. So now we have come together collectively to just have a really big celebration.
Now, what can people do to make sure that they are able to actually participate in the celebration? So how do they register?
So they definitely have to go to the website is makingstrides.org/Bronx, or you can go to makingstrides.org and you can find the location that's nearest you of the upcoming walk. So Brooklyn's walk is coming up also on October 22nd. And this weekend is Queens and Central Park in Staten Island. So if you visit that website, you can register and find out more information about the Making Strides movement that's close to you.
Now, if people can't attend the event, what are some other ways that they can show their support?
They can go on there, register. They can fundraise if they can't attend the event. So again, like as I mentioned, those fundraising, those donations is a great source of funding of help us to continue to fulfill the movement that we do at the American Cancer Society.
Now, one way to help the Making Strides event is to become a team leader. What does it mean to become a team leader?
So the team leader, and I feel like everyone is a leader in their own individual way. There's no really title. I think leader is a leader, but the team leaders are the ones that really bring everyone together and saying, you know, this may not affect me personally, or it can affect me personally, but let's come together to show others that we're there for them. And the team leader is the one that collectively just brings a whole unit together and say, let's spread the awareness, let's spread the education about the early detection. Let's spread the awareness that what the American Cancer Society is doing with the funds that we are raising. And let's, unite together in creating this aspect of love to the entire Bronx community.
And if someone's attending for the first time, what can they expect?
Just plain old fun and good times and just creating a memorable experience, because life is just creating memories. So definitely at the Bronx Walk, there's a variety of different ways of creating that memorable experience in allowing that family member to feel love, or creating or showing that memory of someone that they lost. There are many who have lost family members. So this is a great movement for them to take those steps in honoring the memory of that person. So hence making strides. So taking that strides to honor someone that they may have lost, or to honor the individual that has fought a great fight through this journey and still fighting strong, and that they're there with them.
Now, I want to thank you so much for joining us and having this really important conversation, but also kind of like, saying that it's a celebration, right? Because a lot of this stuff can just be very like mentally taxing on, so many people. And, it is tough. So to have organizations like yours that kind of like, make people feel excited to be around one another and kind of talk about this openly, I just think is so important. So thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation. I know the American Cancer Society does other work. Can you just quickly let people know about how can they find out about some of the other resources your organization offers?
So they can go to cancer.org. So if you want to find out more information about the various types of cancers, when to do your cancer screening, or you have a particular question about like colonoscopies, mammograms, we have an array of resource information at cancer.org. We even have a live chat where you can speak to someone through the live chat to answer any questions. And as I mentioned previously, we have our 1-800 24/7 number where you can call and get information. And one thing that I wanted to point it out that I didn't say before, that a lot of people are not aware of, is that breast cancer does affect men as well. So that resource information for men is also on the website for them to obtain information that breast cancer does affect men as well.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event will take place in the Bronx at the Bay Plaza Mall on October 22nd at 8 a.m. You can also find it in Brooklyn at the Coney Island Boardwalk and the Mamonades Park as well. And please go to their website, www.cancer.org, for more information. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recable cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Hemick on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.